Welcome to the Brave New Wealth podcast, where we discuss optimizing wealth from a mental, physical, social, and financial perspective. I'm your host, Julienna. Bienvenue à tout le monde. Bienvenido a todos. Herzlich willkommen. Everyone is welcome here. This podcast is sponsored by Engineer Tax Services, where I am a director. Engineer Tax Services is a subsidiary of Engineer Tax Advisory. And our goal is to empower business owners, entrepreneurs, real estate investors to take advantage of those tax incentives that are not often taken into consideration. We want to educate, we want to optimize your business with those strategies that will help you grow and protect your capital gain. Today, I am very excited to have as a guest Dr. Lawana Gladney. She is a transformational leader with over 30 years of international speaking experience. As the founder of Gladney Enterprises, Dr. Gladney specializes in speaking, consulting, training, and coaching. She helps organizations build exceptional teams and drive high performance. Her results-driven approach empowers companies to enhance productivity, profitability, and success, all while fostering emotionally healthy work environments. Through her work with 24 Carat Speakers, Dr. Gladney elevates the voices of powerful women speakers, connecting them to global platforms to inspire real change and educate organizations. Dr. Gladney's expertise is designed to help organizations flourish and thrive, and her platinum speakers deliver insights that prepare audiences for lasting success. I really hope you enjoyed this discussion. Dr. Gladney, welcome.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I'm excited to be here, Juliana.
I am really excited to speak to an expert and a friend.
Yes.
So you have a very, very impressive bio, and I like to ask you, how would you introduce yourself in, let's say, 30 seconds when you enter a room? How do you like to present yourself?
Well, I just normally tell people, hello, I am Dr. G. I am the Success Psychologist. I help you get to higher levels of success by unblocking your psychological barriers and help you get to where you want to go.
That is wonderful. That is wonderful. And I can feel your energy as you share this.
Yes.
Now, I do want to throw at you a little challenge. I like to ask, what is something you have done lately that is maybe a bit outside of your comfort zone that has allowed you to grow? Something that wasn't very comfortable, but you know that it takes getting out of the comfort zone in order to grow and expand. So, it can be, something from the mental, physical, social, even financial realm.
Well, and that's an interesting question because I feel like I'm always out of my comfort zone. I've been an entrepreneur for over 35 years, and it requires almost daily to get outside of your comfort zone in one of those areas. So let's do something fun. Let's do in the fun area. Let's say socially. So I decided in 2025 that I was just I am a divorced woman. And so I have just decided I'm going to open up to invite different people that may not be my type and to say, hey, yeah, sure, we can go on a date. Now that's really different because, I have boundaries in every kind of way and it's structured. So I think that's a fun way that's kind of challenging to say, you know what? Who knows? Let's just give this a try. So it's all different types of men.
That sounds really fun.
That's the fun part.
And hopefully safe. Yes. No, good for you. Good for you to get, yourself out there
Yes.
and do something a little bit different, because we know that if we keep doing the same things, we have the same results.
Yes.
And so,
Yes.
and aside from, going on really fun dates, what are some things that you do also before we dig more into, what you do for work and how you help your clients and the people who come to you, what are some other things that you do to balance, that workload and to recenter? What are some maybe activities that you enjoy doing or are passionate about?
Ooh, you know what? I work hard. I tell people I work hard and I play harder. So what that means is I was a single mother of 4 children, so I learned how to balance and structure everything. And being able to allow myself to know when it is time for me to shut down. First of all, I do shut down 1 day a week and I do not do any work. So I do have that rest day, but also I will do fun things with my grown children. We like hanging out and spending time, and we do movie times. We go to different events and places. I do a lot of events, social events with friends, and I hang out. I go on dates. I skate. I play tennis. I do a lot to
Oh, wow.
sure to keep my emotional health and my body and everything balanced. So yeah, you want me to keep going with a list?
That's wonderful. I like that you're, very active and you do plenty of different things that keep you balanced. And it's super important. And
Yes.
as a therapist, a psychologist, you do know the importance of keeping both the mental and the physical in check in order
Yes.
to feel good and to be well. So that's really great. Now, your background and what you do is really fascinating to me because it just spans from the emotional and therapeutical and psychological and all the way to business and business organization and helping them. So help us understand where you started, what led you maybe to choose that path of psychology and becoming a therapist and a doctor in psychology to, and I know it's a long journey, so you're going to have to like
Yes.
summarize for us, but just where, basically where you started from and where you at today and a little bit of that journey, how that happened.
Okay. Sure. I started out as a school teacher, so my undergrad degree is in elementary education. So I taught third, fourth, seventh, and eighth grades before I stopped and started my own business. I developed a discipline program for teachers and I started training teachers in that program. And I wrote my first book. This was years ago. And so that's kind of how I jumped out into the entrepreneur space. And as I went forth to get my program on the college campus, they actually recruited me to come back to school for my graduate degree. So I ended up going back to get my master's and my doctorate. So it was never my vision or my path to say, oh, I want to be a doctor or I'm going to do psychology. None of that. I was making a sales call and I ended up going to the admissions office because I really wanted to get my program on the campus. And so from there, it's kind of like I just carved out my destiny because I'd already had my company. I was already speaking and training and creating courses and things. And so I decided from the psychology part, I've always been interested in humans and human behavior and what makes us tick. So I did a lot of research with intrinsic motivation and the motivation theory and people and our brains. And so majoring in that became this interesting kind of like, what am I going to do with this? I did not want to be the clinical psychologist where you come in my office and I just see patients all day. So I
Mm-hmm.
created it the way I wanted to. I carved out my own destiny. This is what I tell people. You get an opportunity to do that. And I took all of my education and said, let me help people prevent having a mental health crisis. So
Mm-hmm.
what I did was created all these programs to help people to understand how to manage their life, how to manage their emotions, their stress, so that they won't have to actually go, because most people don't go to counseling. But if I can help you manage this, it will help to prevent crisis in your life. So that's what I
Mm-hmm.
did. I just carved it out and all along the way, learning how to do that and what that looked like. I can tell you, Juliana, we're still ever evolving because as the
Mm-hmm.
world evolves, then I evolve to meet the needs of the world and to
Mm-hmm.
meet the needs of people. And so as things grew and social media and all of this stuff, I started 35 years ago. So I've been here for a long time. So I've seen a
Mm-hmm.
lot of changes in our society and how we need to change as entrepreneurs ourselves. So I've been able to do that and to do a whole lot of pivoting and then focusing now more on the success as opposed to the healing. Because at the end of the healing
Mm-hmm.
journey, everybody wants success. How do you get to that success? And so that's really fun working with individuals as well as companies and helping them to understand what is blocking your way. Let's move this out the way. Let's do something
Wow.
different. So yeah, that's kind of, I said 35 years worth in 5 minutes.
That's really good. And I think we've had many conversation, and each time I learn a little bit more, what made you do that leap, and why didn't you anchor yourself then into the therapy and the coaching and very much, the psychology and moving into business. And I understand, because at the end of the day, if you don't have that part dealt with, it really affects every other part
Yes.
of the organization, of the people you work with. And so being able to focus on the business side, but also having the expertise and knowledge to know that the psychology behind it is what's going to drive the success is a great tool. I mean, I'm
Absolutely.
sure anyone who gets to work with you,
Yes.
you get 2 for 1.
Yes. You do.
Business and psychological help where needed.
Yes.
And so that's really wonderful. So you touched a little bit on that piece, but where do you see, as you approach those organizations, as you approach the companies that you work with, where there is a lack, where you come in and you see this is where you really need to focus,
Yes.
because with your insight, you're able to see that right away. So give me an example of things that you've observed, and maybe that are kind of most commonly found in organization where they're lacking, and you can come in and help them
Okay.
get over that hurdle.
That's a good question. So I work with mainly the small businesses, and that's because I want to work directly with the CEO. But so you don't
Mm-hmm.
have all these layers that you have to go through. So working directly with the CEO, and so it's generally small businesses that maybe have 20 or less people. They don't have an HR department, all of those things. And what happens is the evaluation process, when I go through the discovery, I can always tell, like, immediately. And let me tell you, about 90% of the issues, Juliana, are people management.
Mm-hmm.
People
Mm-hmm.
create the problems, and people create the productivity, and people create the
Mm-hmm.
profits. So you see, I just named 3 Ps: problems, productivity, and profits. And if you don't manage the problems that come with people, then a lot of times everything is blocked. Sometimes I have to deal directly with the leader themselves, because when you have a small business and it's been something that is your baby and you're so close to it, you can't see the forest for the trees. So I also work with the
Mm-hmm.
CEO to bring them the messaging that their employees and people cannot bring to them. And they're like, oh my God, somebody's here to rescue us. But that's generally what it is. It's the organizational structure. A lot of times the smaller businesses don't really have that organizational structure, because as they
Mm-hmm.
begin to grow, they might have grown so quickly or not hiring the right team. And so I will go in, and if we need to hire new team members, we will do that. If there needs to be, hey, the conversation that this is not a good fit anymore. So those are the kind of things in the evaluation process, and seeing that this doesn't match that and it's blocking their success. So we unblock it.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever that
Yes.
looks like. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's very interesting. Every company, every organization has their own culture. So we try to
Right.
focus on what is the culture here. And if the culture is any type of, let me say it this way, I don't want to say it so heavy, but if there are any problems that is tainting the culture, some cultures are toxic. But for the most part, it's not the toxicity. It's just that something just needs to be readjusted to
Mm-hmm.
create a different type of culture. And then that kind of helps with the whole people problem and everything else. So it just real, I'm telling you, my job is interesting and no day looks the same.
I bet. I bet just like people, organizations are different with their own aura vibe.
Yes, yes,
And
yes,
you enter into that, you have to understand who they are, and change is hard,
yes.
as we all know. And so that's where, I don't know, you have to kind of have a magic wand to help people be willing to,
Well,
you
and
know,
I,
the right tools.
yeah,
The magic wand is the right
yeah,
skill set and tools, right? It's not
yes, because
just
there is
willing that.
yeah, there is a formula, and because I know what makes people, what motivates them through all the
Mm-hmm.
stuff that I've done, then you can get people on board, and change it doesn't have to be this long drawn out process. You know, people can
Mm-hmm.
actually be excited about change when it's done the right way.
Yes, this is very helpful, very useful. I think everyone at some point needs some type of adjustment. And like you say, when you're in the forest, you don't
You
see,
don't
you're
see it.
just in it, and you need that outside perspective in order to move forward.
Yes.
So thank you. We're gonna pivot a little bit because aside from doing this important work, you also have a big speaker organization, 24 Karat. And so I want to ask you how you started 24 Carats and 24 Carat Speakers, and what motivated you to do it,
Yeah.
and also who is it for?
Okay. This is great. As you could probably see after the 35 years of me being out here, that I've also had two nonprofits in the past, and I've always had the passion for women, even though, you know, what I do as a success psychologist, it's just for humans. But 24 Karat, I've been a speaker myself for 35 years and started in the industry and didn't know. Everybody was just asking me to speak, and so I was just doing it. But as things and I developed, and being here for a long time, I realized that there is, again, a pay disparity, and there was a lot of women that are experts out there speaking but don't know how to find their engagements. So as I kind of gone through that whole journey and being represented by bureaus and things, but not really having the representation that I wanted, I decided to be the solution, because I knew if I was
Mm-hmm.
having the issue, so were other women. And that's when 24 Karat Speakers was born. Through all of my experience, connections, I knew that I could help so many women that are platinum speakers, experts in their field, which means, you know, that they are at a certain level of speaking and they have their own brand equity. So they're out there, they're known, people know who they are, so that we're able to then as well market them. Now, we do have a lot of speakers that come and they're wanting to speak. So we have a coaching training program that we will train speakers as well to know how to have their content, their messaging, all of the things that goes into that. So
Mm-hmm.
we launched it about 4 years ago. And so
Mm-hmm.
it's been a journey, because, you know, I'm just that person as an entrepreneur. There's always ideas, there's always things, but I look at it, and when I feel that pull and that passion, and I felt so strongly about this is something that I felt on my spiritual journey was my next, what God was saying, hey, get this done for these women. So I'm really honored to be that person that can go out
Mm-hmm.
and represent women in the way that they can't or don't know how. So that's what
Mm-hmm.
24 Karat Speakers is all about. And we have a big event that we have every year called the Women of Power Symposium, because I'm all about empowering, inspiring, motivating, you know, knowledge, connecting, all of that. And all of that happens every year. So that's real exciting as well. So as you can see, I stay pretty busy.
Yes, no, I can see. I know from first-time experience. So when is the next big event?
So it's going to be in the fall. So we haven't gotten a
Mm-hmm.
date yet. We have a board
Mm-hmm.
meeting actually coming up tomorrow, but
Okay.
it will be in the fall. So to be the September, October, November timeframe,
Mm-hmm.
after the kids get back in school and all of those fun
Yes.
things, after the summer's over and people are kind of geared up and getting ready before the holidays. So
Yes.
it will be this fall coming up.
Well, my birthday is September 12th, so do it before after so I can
Oh,
come.
it'll be after.
Uh,
Last time I think you missed it because of
so,
that.
right.
Yeah,
Yes, I was out of
sure.
town, but that's it. I have attended one of
Yes,
your events and they are high quality. I was super impressed. So I'm definitely rooting for you and want to encourage anyone who has an opportunity to go see these women who are highly accomplished coming from all different type of industry,
yeah,
business owners, entrepreneurs, corporate, non-corporate, with incredible stories.
yeah.
Each one of them have their own platform. So it's definitely an event to not miss if you
Right,
have a chance.
right.
Thank you for that. With this, and I know you've worked with hundreds of women who wanted to be on platforms and speak. What is one experience that stands out to you where you were able to really help someone come out of a shell, shine, and you've seen the effect of that in their own life afterwards? I know you have a lot, but if you can think of one that you could share with us, that would be wonderful.
Yeah, so, because I do the speaking, but as well as just working with individual clients on their journey. It is so many, it is so many of them. But individually, I've seen when I do work with them in the speaking and training, and I watch you actually, it's almost like seeing a flower blossom, when it just kind of is like this, and you just put enough water in there and it opens out. And I've seen people, some of these ladies, and I don't just coach ladies in the speaking, I also men, but I've seen this one client in particular that already kind of was like a diamond in the rough and needed that guidance on what your messaging is, what all of this needs to look like, how you need to present yourself, your skill set. And watching her just open up as this flower and command the room it's amazing. I mean,
Hmm.
like, wow. And I always tell my clients, even when I'm working with them on the success route, or some of them even in the emotional wellness space, I always tell people it's an internal makeover. So when you come to
Hmm.
me and you leave because it's a program, you leave this program, you're a completely different person. And I love seeing all of that. And I have so many that I can tell you about. And even on the company side, going in and this one company that I worked with, and they were struggling. The CEO was struggling. Company was doing well, but the CEO was working 150 hours a week. Now we only
Yes,
have
which is not
168
healthy.
hours in a week, so you can imagine
Not healthy.
that you're not sleeping. A little bit of exaggeration there, but you understand. And when I was able to come in and redirect, get them a team hired, so now the CEO can be on the yacht when he wants to.
Hmm.
To me, and trust that his business is going to keep running and the profitability and everything, skyrocketed. So those are just a couple of examples. And to me, that's the reward. I mean, of course, money is going to always be a reward, but when you're passionate about what you do, and I always tell my clients, I succeed when they succeed. So that's what
Hmm.
it's all about. So yes.
I love it. I love it. That is beautiful. So thank you for sharing all of this, and I can see the glow, that the joy that you bring into your work and your passion, and I know that you share that with whoever works with you. I can tell. Tell us, what are some of your goals this year? What are some of your objectives so we know how to support you, and
Okay.
which direction are you
Ooh,
going?
first of all, it's just amazing that the first quarter is over already. What? We haven't
Yes.
we haven't got where we're supposed to be in this first quarter. But
We're
that's
like,
why you
yes.
recalibrate. And
Mhm.
so, yes, so some of our goals are Women of Power Symposium is going to be double, triple what it was last year. So
Okay.
it's going to be a bigger event. And that's why we brought a team of people in. So I'm real excited because from the last event, there have been so many connections And like I told the ladies, your life is going to change today because you're going to meet somebody that's going to put you on a different trajectory. And hearing the stories and knowing the business and all the money that has been made and the connections and the friendships and the business, that excites me. So thinking about tripling that is fantastic. So that is definitely one of the goals. Another goal is expanding, our platform base with the number of speakers that we have. Right now we have 14. So we are looking to add more into that, as well as secure that investor that we have been looking for a couple of years now. So looking forward to having the investor. And then I'm going through rebranding Gladney Enterprises is. And so I'm very excited about that because we're going to be coming out with some new stuff.
Awesome.
So yeah.
That's always exciting. Well, make sure to keep us updated. Of course, all your information will be in the show notes so that whoever needs your services can reach out to you. I know you're very active on LinkedIn. You're easy to find.
Yes.
Your work is also on social media. You've got podcasts. You have
Yes.
the symposium, I think, is also
Yes.
available for people to watch. So that is all wonderful. I really, really appreciate you coming on the Brave New Wealth podcast today, sharing your knowledge, your skills, your joy, and hopefully you'll be coming again.
Well, listen, I will come if you will have me. And I appreciate the opportunity to be on your platform. Congratulations to you on the podcast. And yes, I am here. They can find me, Dr. Gladney, everywhere. I am just so easy. I made it so easy years ago. I said, okay, they won't forget it if it's attached to your name. So
That's
you
true.
can find me everywhere, Dr. Gladney.
That is true. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Brave New Wealth podcast. I am grateful that Dr. Lawana Gladney was able to come on and have this discussion with me, share her journey, her talent, her skills. Make sure you go find her online. You support her conferences. If you enjoyed this podcast, please leave a comment. Let me know you were here. Subscribe, share with someone you think will benefit from it. And I hope I will see you next time. À bientôt.